Welcome back to the Dragon Den. My loyal Dragonites, King of Dragons 5000 is back with another action figure review. Today we'll be taking a look at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Batman from Batman vs Superman Dawn of Justice. And so here we have Batman posed and out of the packaging, but before we have a look at the figure, let's run through his accessories. Batman does come with 2 pairs of hands as well as 2 batarangs and his grapple gun. Other than that, Batman doesn't come with any other accessories, so with that out of the way, let's have a closer look at Batfleck. McFarlane Toys has done a decent job here with the BVS Batman, and there are some things to like about the figure. However, there are some glaring issues with the figure that we do have to talk about. Taking a look at his head sculpt, this is actually a really good head sculpt by McFarlane Toys. It does seem like it's a little bit too narrow for Batfleck's head sculpt, as Batfleck had a more rounder head. But the sculpt and details in this head sculpt are actually quite enjoyable, and I really like the furrowed brow here. I do like the effort for the 5 o'clock shadow, despite the fact it kinda just looks like smudge marks. And one issue that I do have with the figure is that he has an elongated neck, which that wasn't seen on Batfleck's costume. As far as the rest of his costume goes, McFarlane Toys has actually done a really good job sculpting Batfleck's costume. Although the texturing is a little bit heavy-handed, as the costume didn't have this much texturing on it, it does look good here. The big bat insignia on his chest is also really nice, and I do like the sculpt work that we have here. And I am actually surprised that McFarlane Toys actually added a dark wash to this character. But they only threw a dark wash on the front of the costume. Where you take a look at the back, it is barren and lacking a lot of paint. The arms carry over that really nice detail, and I do like the sculpted line work that we have on his costume. The gloves do have a really good sculpt, and you can see the line work which was present in the film. However, the back fins are just done in black plastic, where they should be a copper color. The detailing on his hands is superb, but once again he is lacking that copper color that we saw on his knuckles. The sculpt work on the utility belt is actually perfect, as this mirrors what we saw on screen. The pouches do look really impressive, and I like the fact that they did try to give him a dark wash. However, it is lacking some paint apps, as the base of the belt should actually be black, and the copper color here is actually quite nice. As far as his legs goes, he has those really thick legs we saw on Batfleck's costume. And once again, there is a really nice dark wash throughout his costume, but once again, it's only in the front, and the back of his legs don't have any paint. Finally, taking a look at his boots, we have a really good sculpt work here for Batfleck's boots. Once again, the line work is quite accurate, and I love the texturing that they put into his boots. But like with the rest of the figure, he is lacking those brass tips that we saw in the film, which is kind of disappointing. Finally, taking a look at his cape, McFarlane actually gave Batfleck here a soft goods cape. However, the material of the cape is done wrong, as it should be pleather, and unfortunately there is no wireframe in his cape. So overall, some really nice detailing here on Batfleck, and even though he does have some paint, I kinda wanted to see some more here on the figure. With his paint and details out of the way, let's compare Batfleck to our usual suspects. Here we have Batman posed next to a Marvel Legends Cyclops and DC Multiverse Superman. Mattel's WWE Elite Series and Mezco's 1/12 Collective Popeye the Sailor Man. The Lightning Collection White Ranger and the Star Wars Black Series Mandalorian. And finally, we have Batman posed next to the McFarlane Toys Superman and Wonder Woman. So as you would expect, he will be too tall to fit in with the rest of your 6-inch line, but he does fit in nicely with the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse line. With the comparisons out of the way, let's have a closer look at Batman's articulation. Batman has a double ball joint in the head, ball sockets in his shoulders, arms go out to the side and do a full 360. Swivel at his bicep and double hinged elbows. He has a ball hinge in the wrists. Batman has a ball joint in the upper torso and a ball joint in the lower torso. Legs do kick forward, go back, out to the side, and have a very slight thigh swivel. He has a double bend in his knees, a ball hinge in the ankle, and finally a toe hinge. So overall, the standard articulation on your McFarlane DC Multiverse, but it does work perfectly here for Batman. With everything said and done about the Dawn of Justice Batman, let's get him posed for my final thoughts. So here we have the McFarlane DC Multiverse Batfleck pose for my final thoughts, and overall this is a decent figure at best. When I saw the announcement for this figure, I was pretty hyped, but having it in hand, I'm kind of disappointed with what McFarlane has done here. There are some things to like about this figure, especially with the sculpt work and the fact that there are a lot of paint apps on this figure. The texturing on his costume is a little bit exaggerated, but I would prefer a little more texture over no texture at all. The accessories on Batman are adequate, although I do feel like the batarangs and his grapple gun are completely oversized. Where this figure suffers the most, surprisingly, is in a lack of paint, and his proportions are completely off from what we saw in the movie. The brass color on the fins, his knuckles, and his toes would have looked really nice on this figure, however, we don't see that here. Add to it, Batman was built like a tank in the Batman vs Superman movie, and we don't really see that here with this figure. Although the legs do look really good, the rest of his body is kinda small and not accurate to what we saw in Batman vs Superman, which is highly unfortunate. Add to it, the really long neck is not what we saw in the movie, and the fact that his head seems a little bit elongated kinda throws off the entire look for the figure. Overall, it is a nice looking figure, but it's not the best that we could have gotten out of McFarlane, which is a little bit disappointing because I'm normally hyped for the Multiverse line. If you do want to pick up Batfleck, he is getting easier to find, especially on sites like Amazon where he's up for sale at the time I'm making this video. With a few modifications, this Batman could be a really great figure, so if you want to do those mods, definitely pick him up on Amazon or other sites or try to find him at retail. So with that being said, don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, and check out the rest of my DC Multiverse videos. If you're in a position to help out the Dragon Den, check out my Patreon where I have some exclusive content and early access videos. Check out my Instagram account for new and exciting action figure photos, videos, recent pickups, latest prints, and as always, ring that bell so you never miss another video. And until next time, my loyal Dragonites coming from the Dragon Den, I'm KingofDragons 5000 reminding you to redesign, rebuild, and reclaim. I'll see you next time.